Have you ever wondered if the story you know about the fall of the angels truly reflects the whole truth? Leave us your comment and tell us if you've ever felt there's something beyond what we were taught. Today, we're going to dive into a celestial mystery that has been hidden for centuries, a secret silenced even within the walls of the most ancient cathedrals. What if I told you that it wasn't just Lucifer who fell from heaven? What if there existed another celestial being whose fall was as devastating as that of the light-bearer, but was deliberately erased from the world's spiritual memory? The mystery of the second fallen angel, the one who came after Lucifer, leads us to a plot hidden between the lines of Scripture, shrouded in shadows that only the light of revelation can pierce. Many have heard of Lucifer's rebellion, the angel who wanted to be like God, whose pride led him to eternal perdition. But few dare to ask, was Lucifer the only one? What happened to the other celestial beings who, though they didn't lead the rebellion, also fell? Christian tradition has preserved certain names, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, but there is one mentioned in whispers, whose story seems to have been intentionally erased. This is the mystery of the forgotten angel who fell after Lucifer, a being whose role could rewrite what we think about the war in the heavens. In Scripture, Revelation 12 speaks of a cosmic battle. And there was a great battle in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Revelation 12:7. This passage has been interpreted as the climax of Lucifer's rebellion. But if we read closely, we discover there's more at play. The text says Michael and his angels, and the dragon and his angels, plural. We're not talking about a single angel who fell, but a greater number, a series of entities that were dragged down with him. But did they all fall at the same time? Did they all share the same fate, or was there a second fall? A deeper, more enigmatic echo that leads us straight to the heart of a far more complex spiritual conflict. In the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text widely revered in ancient Jewish tradition, a group known as the Watchers is mentioned, angels who descended to earth and took human wives, corrupting their nature. Enoch 6:1-2 says, "And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and lusted after them." Among these angels, there is one who didn't lead Lucifer's original rebellion, but fell for another reason. Desire, disobedience, compassion, or a dark mixture of all three. His name was Semyaza, or Shemhazai in ancient Hebrew. And who was Semyaza? Why was his story suppressed for so long? Some scholars believe Semyaza was a celestial prince of the highest rank, perhaps one of the closest to the throne, maybe even among the seraphim. In the tradition of the Midrash Rabbah, it is hinted that some angels descended not only out of pride, but through a distorted form of love, a desire to experience the human, to bridge the gap between eternity and time. That transgression didn't stem from hatred like Lucifer's, but from a profound fascination with the fragility of creation. Semyaza's fall, therefore, is a fall through seduction, through attachment to what he was meant only to guard. But here's where the mystery becomes even more unsettling. In some Kabbalistic interpretations, it is said that Semyaza didn't fall from heaven at the same time as Lucifer, but after. He witnessed the fall of his brother of light, and yet he chose another path that led him to the same abyss. Why would an angel fall after witnessing the ruin of his kin? This is one of the most unsettling questions. In the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, it is said that the deepest fall is not that of pride, but of the one who, having seen, still chooses. This detail reveals a powerful spiritual truth. Not all who fall do so at the same moment, nor for the same reasons. Some fall through arrogance, others through weakness disguised as compassion, others through seeking redemption in their own way. And this is where Semyaza's story touches our soul, because it confronts us with the possibility that even the purest can err when they stray from divine purpose. How many times have we seen another's fall and still followed the same path? How many times do we believe we're helping when in reality we're breaking the sacred order? At this point, the biblical narrative intertwines with our experience. The Apostle Paul says in 1 Corinthians 10:12, "Therefore let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall." That warning isn't just for humans, but resonates as an eternal echo from the celestial spheres. The angel who fell after Lucifer reminds us that the danger lies not only in outright rebellion, but also in the small concessions made in silence. Semyaza didn't openly oppose the Most High like Lucifer, but his choice was equally fatal. He descended to earth without being sent. And now another layer of the mystery emerges. According to Enoch and other extra-canonical sources, it was this later group of fallen angels that ushered in a new era of darkness on earth. From them were born the Nephilim, the giants, the hybrids, corruption incarnate. Genesis 6:4 tells us there were giants in the earth in those days, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men. But why does the biblical text hint without elaborating? What did Moses intend to conceal by writing so briefly about such a catastrophic event? Some theologians believe it was out of fear, others out of obedience to a mandate not to reveal too much about celestial structures. But the fact is that this second fall changed the course of humanity's history. While Lucifer's fall was spiritual and cosmic, Semyaza's was earthly and corrupting. And here comes the great revelation. It was this second fall that tainted the bloodline, that altered creation itself, that prepared the ground for the flood. God, seeing that all flesh had corrupted its way, decided to reset the world. Can you see the depth of this? A fall subsequent to Lucifer's triggered a global purification. This brings us to a climax. Perhaps Semyaza's fall was the most dangerous of all because it wasn't impulsive, it was deliberate. It wasn't driven by ambition for the throne, but by a false mercy, by a desire to feel what wasn't created for him to feel. And that is the subtlest trap of evil, the disguise of light, of goodness, of misdirected empathy. How many times are we tempted to do good outside of God's will? And if this angel, Semyaza, not only fell, but remains active today, not as a visible figure, but as a symbol of every spiritual temptation that seems good but pulls us away from divine purpose. The echo of his fall continues to resonate in every human decision that seeks spiritual shortcuts, in every path that seems more human than holy, more sentimental than sacred. Isn't this what we see today in so many movements that distort the gospel's message in the name of love, inclusion, or compassion uprooted from truth? The same spirit that led Semyaza to descend out of carnal love is present in every human attempt to reshape divine will according to our own desires. Augustine of Hippo, one of the church fathers, wrote, "Evil has no essence of its own, but is the corruption of what was created good." Semyaza, like Lucifer, was created good. His fall didn't begin with an act, but with a subtle deviation from purpose, an unchecked desire, an unjudged thought, a feeling that became an idol. And here comes our personal reflection. How many times do we nurture seemingly harmless thoughts that are actually gestating a future fall? How many times do we justify our decisions with the excuse of a feeling that contradicts God's eternal word? There is a golden thread running through Scripture, a thread that connects the fall of the angels with the promised redemption. In the letter of Jude 1:6 we read, "And the angels who did not keep their own position, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness." This reveals that celestial disobedience wasn't just a matter of open rebellion, but also of abandoning the place assigned by God. That is the essence of every fall, leaving the place given to you. That was Semyaza's fall, and it can be ours if we cease to obey the purpose heaven wrote upon us. The account in the book of Enoch goes even further. It describes how Semyaza and his companions asked Enoch to intercede for them before God. But the response was devastating. Their names would not be found in the book of life, and their petitions would not be heard. A sentence of eternal silence. Isn't this one of the most terrifying judgments? Not just physical punishment, but spiritual exile, the impossibility of being heard by the Creator. This is the ultimate consequence of an unrepentant fall, the hardening of the soul. And here, the silence of heaven becomes judgment. But even amidst this darkness, there is light, because the story of the second fallen angel doesn't end simply in tragedy, but in warning. It's a sign that tells us you can still choose. As we walk in this world tainted by the echoes of ancient rebellions, we still have the chance to remain faithful. Semyaza's fall was triggered by crossing a boundary that shouldn't have been crossed. Our faithfulness is expressed by respecting divine boundaries, by embracing the sacred design even when it seems difficult or outdated. There's another fascinating aspect to this mystery. Some ancient Gnostic and esoteric currents tried to redeem Semyaza's figure, seeing him as a bearer of knowledge or a kind of celestial Prometheus. But this distortion is dangerous, because not all knowledge is holy. The serpent in Eden also offered knowledge. We mustn't confuse wisdom with spiritual transgression. True wisdom comes from the fear of God, not from exploring the forbidden. This is where discernment becomes vital. The same spirit that led Semyaza to act out of apparent compassion is the one that today drives many spiritual decisions that are actually corrupted by disobedience. The story of the second fallen angel calls us to sharpen our spiritual ear, to discern between the voice of the soul and the voice of the spirit, between the clamor of human desire and the eternal direction of the word. Because often the enemy doesn't appear with horns, but with false tenderness. He doesn't roar, he whispers, and he whispers things that seem good. Hebrew mysticism also offers an interesting key. Some Talmudic sages speak of a type of fall that doesn't happen instantly, but is like a slow descent. The soul gradually separates from its source until one day it no longer recognizes it. This is exactly what happened to Semyaza. His fall wasn't sudden but progressive, and the most disturbing part, he knew what he was doing, and still, he did it. How many times do we also know and still proceed? The Apostle Peter gives us a powerful warning in 2 Peter 2:4. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, this isn't just ancient history, it's a living warning. Because if heaven was unrelenting with beings of light who failed, how will we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? The mystery of the second fallen angel isn't just an intriguing story from the past, it's a living sign for our present. It's a mirror for every soul that has ever considered abandoning its sacred place. Perhaps that's why this topic was forbidden for centuries. Because it confronts, because it allows no half measures, because it spiritually strips us bare. We cannot look at Semyaza and remain indifferent. His story screams that even compassion outside of purpose can be deadly, that even love, if not submitted to divine will, can be the seed of destruction. And that God's silence in the face of certain acts isn't always patience. Sometimes it's judgment. In the end, this celestial mystery brings us back to the heart of the gospel. Because if there was a second fall, there is also a second chance. If Semyaza represents corrupted love, Christ represents redeeming love. And if there was an angel who descended out of lust, there was also a God who descended out of holy love. Redemption will always be deeper than the fall. But for it to reach us, we need to awaken. What do you think about this mystery? Do you believe there are other fallen beings whose stories have been hidden? Leave us your comment and share your spiritual reflection. And if this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who needs a spiritual awakening. Because the truth, though hidden for centuries, always shines forth for those who seek with sincerity.